So today's a very big day for Razer because they finally did it, okay? They finally released a laptop with an AMD CPU. You have to understand something, okay? If you watch my previous Razer review videos over the last year, there's always that one guy in the comment sections who's like, hey Matt, where's the AMD processor? No AMD, no buy. I have no idea why he's doing this, but you know who you are. And look, I'm glad they finally did it. It took them a brand new product lineup to do it, but I'm glad they did because this new Razer Blade 14 is a beautiful looking laptop. In fact, it's quite obvious that they're aiming this towards the Zephyrus G14, but at least finally it has a bit more competition. Now to give you guys some context to see the size difference compared to the G14, it's pretty much the exact same size. The only difference is that the Razer Blade 14 is a tiny bit heavier. Like this weighs about 3.88 pounds, whereas the G14 weighs about 3.66 pounds. Now, if you're curious how it stacks up against other Razer products, I have the Razer Blade 15 right here. And then on top of it, I'm going to place the Razer Blade 14 to give you some context. And then you can see the size of the Razer Blade Stealth 13. So it's a lot closer in size to the Stealth 13 than it is to the 15. Now the port setup is not as expansive as the 15-inch unit, but it's better than the Stealth 13. There's still quite a bit of ports for a 14-inch form factor. And as you can see here on the left-hand side, you have their standard proprietary power connector. And because this model is using an RTX 3070, it comes with a 230 watt power brick. You also have a USB port, a Type-C USB 3.2 port. This does support power delivery. So if you want to charge this on the go, you can use USB Type-C, but it only does it up to 100 watts. So if you're gaming on this thing, it's probably going to power throttle a bit. You have an audio jack, and then on the right-hand side, you have another HDMI port, USB port, and then another USB Type-C port. There is one thing I want to mention, which I forgot to mention in the beginning. This is a prototype unit. I can't talk about actual performance metrics, but I'll try a lot to do like winks, like weird winks like this, if it's good or not, okay? Okay, I hope that doesn't scare you. Now, just like every other Razer Blade laptop, you can open it up with one hand for those like 4.5 people that care out there. And then of course you get those top firing speakers like you would on their other models. Now this keyboard is exactly the same as the 15-inch model and the 13-inch model. If you've typed and used those ones before, then you know exactly how this feels. Very short, kind of mushy travel on the keys, but you do have that awesome RGB that Razer provides where you can like customize each key to be whatever color you want. Touchpad is the same. It's a really good touchpad, very accurate, and a big size for your fingers to move around. Now you don't have a fingerprint scanner on this, but this is standard with all of Razer's laptops, but you do have Windows Hello facial recognition to log you in. This webcam is only 1 megapixel, so don't expect like great video quality out of it, but it's there if you need to take a Zoom call. The other thing is the display. Like my unit is a 1920 by 1080, 144 hertz display, but there's also a QHD option available. It's all 16 by 9, no 16 by 10 available. So if you're looking at this, my suggestion is probably stick with the 1080p version because I feel like it's pixel dense enough for this display size. Now I did do a color calibration test, no problems there. It's your standard stuff you'd see on this type of panel with good color gamut and pretty decent screen brightness. Now my unit comes with a Ryzen 9 5900HX, and this is the processor that will come standard across the board. No matter which version of the Blade 14 you opt for, you will get the 5900HX processor. This processor is unlocked, meaning if the cooling overhead is available, you can push this thing faster than you could the 5900HS that's inside the G14. All units come standard with a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD. The only options you have to configure is the GPU. If you buy the 3060 model, you are stuck with the 1080p display. If you get the 3070 or 3080, then you'll get the QHD display instead. Now I can't show you actual benchmarks, and if you want to see how well this thing performs, I'll link you my ASUS G14 video, and that will give you kind of an idea. But I did play some games on this, and everything seemed to be okay. Everything was running nice and smooth, but frame rates and all the other kind of stuff, I'll save for my full review. Now internally, not a lot is upgradable. Like you have a Wi-Fi 6E swappable card. and you have a NVMe SSD that can be swapped out for something bigger if you need more space down the road. It does have a vapor chamber cooling solution, so in theory, this should provide better cooling than the G14. The battery size is 61.6 watt hours, and Razer is saying up to 12 hours, but let's be honest here, this is a gaming laptop, and a more realistic battery life is probably around 4 to 5. Now, the one thing that some people might take issue with is the RAM. You can only buy this with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it's soldered onto the motherboard. Like, you can't upgrade it down the road. So here's the bottom line. My first impressions of this laptop are great. You know, Razer finally delivered. They introduced an AMD version of a 14-inch form factor that offers a great competitor to the G14. There's only one thing I don't like, and that's obviously the RAM. You know, not being able to upgrade to more is kind of a bummer for someone like me who would love to rock this thing for travel, but can't because you need more RAM when you're editing video. But I'm not the main market, right? This is meant for gamers, and gamers only need 16 gigabytes of RAM. So if that's you and you've been wanting a 14-inch laptop, this is one that you might want to consider, but wait for the full reviews first. Now, Razer is also selling their Orochi mouse, and they have this new GAN charger which supports up to 130 watts. Like, if you put this in your bag, you have such a killer light travel combo that can pretty much do anything you want. Anyways, drop your questions for the full review in the comment section down below. Make sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.